Okay, so you wanted to say something?
Yes, I
Okay.
found something that was sounding so familiar. You earlier on we were talking about what God said about the divorce and what was happening within Israel as it relates to the the men taking other women
Mm-hmm.
from other. It was familiar because we did it in Hosea. Let me take you back. Two
Mm-hmm.
places. Go to Hosea 5, verse 7. They have dealt treacherously against the Lord, for they have begotten strange children.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Nor shall a moth devour them with their portion. Strange children. You remember what we were saying? That the whole point of having the two become one is one in the children. And God was saying He was waiting, He was hoping to have begotten holy children. Here
Yep.
it is the same word, treacherously. Because the whole point is because you have begotten children. Okay, let's go back to the previous verse. Isaiah 4, verse 10. For they shall eat and not have enough. They shall commit whoredom and shall not increase, because they have left off to take heed to the Lord. Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. My people ask counsel at their stocks, and their staff declared unto them, for the spirit of whoredom has caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring from under their God. In other words, the whole thing, it was not only the 10 tribes doing it, but Judah as well. All right? If you
Mm-hmm.
look at where the Lord spoke, He spoke of Jacob. He was talking about everybody because remember, by now, the 10 tribes have when Malachi was speaking, the 10 tribes have already gone. The temple was destroyed
Yeah.
and all been rebuilt. So he's speaking in the second temple. So when he's speaking, he's speaking about Israel in totality
Yeah.
because the 10 tribes were gone, but there were elements of the 10 tribes still present in Judah.
Yep.
So
The remnants.
the remnants represented Israel. So when we look at it, they continued to do the same thing.
Yep. Including the remnants. The remnants brought it back because they were used to it before.
Yeah, everybody doing the same thing again. So it sounds familiar because we went through it. You remember where the Bible spoke of the men taking their brides to have threesomes and orgies?
That was Isaiah.
Yes, that was Hosea. That was Hosea. They took their brides to have these things because they thought it would be for Azarath to be fruitful. So this is what Israel was guilty of then, back then. It is what they're guilty of again, and it just continues. So when God says you have dealt with me treacherously, you have deceived me, you have robbed me from having the righteous seed that I was due.
Be righteous and your progeny as well.
Yes. So not only when he says you have robbed me in your sacrifice, they have robbed him because they have not given him the seed that he should have received.
Polluted.
Yes.
But it did say that in chapter 2 of Malachi that he wanted righteous seeds.
Exactly. Precisely. And
He
this
wanted
is one of
righteous
the
seeds.
things that they have continued to do.
Yeah.
From Hosea spoke about it. Hasn't she?
Yeah. But this is something we never really look at, and it's true that is very important because the regeneration of the new generation have to be godly, have to be like good seeds, but instead it have been consistent bad seeds. So it's not easy after to go back to good seeds, but that is because they do not repent. They keep doing the same thing.
We wonder. Let's look at we looked at verse 5 yesterday, but there's something. And false swearers against those that oppress their hirelings in their wages, the widow and the fatherless. No, God is constantly talking about the fatherless.
Amen.
And there's a reason for that. Because without the guidance of their father, because remember, the way it worked was the father was the head of the house. It was his responsibility to teach the children the ways of the Lord.
And if there's no, how do you
How then? How are they to learn?
Yes.
Except through the priest.
The priests are the ones who have to teach them. Yeah.
Except for the community who would teach them. They would learn from the community at large. But what they've learned,
It's not what's supposed to be learned.
Exactly. Is that abuse is normal, trickery is normal, right? Living in poverty and dirt is normal. Being ostracized is normal. So they have failed in terms of treating with the children that are fatherless, that actually, if you think about it, some of these children that are fatherless are firstborn.
Yeah.
And they belong to God. And when you treat with them any old way, you have offended the Father. So God is saying the children that are orphans should have been protected, should have been provided for, should have been cared for, should have been taught. You haven't bothered with that. And you're guilty because of it.
It is bad. Because just like God is our Father, and He's the one who guides us, teaches, if we don't have God in our life, we are lost.
If you look at what in verse 5, he lumps that in with, I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, the adulterers, the false swearers, those that oppress the hireling, the widow, and the fatherless.
The fatherless.
He's lumped all of that in with the witchcraft.
Yep.
This is how seriously God views your care of those who are underprivileged in society. This is how you should have been careful here of thee. And when in Jesus says, what you do to the least of the poor, the underprivileged, the underclass, how you treat them, you have also done to me. Yeah. So the church has if we are to put the church in the middle of it, because Christ spoke about it, so therefore the church it is the church who should be taking care of the orphans. The Catholic, to their credit, has long been taking care of orphans and so on. The problem is that they have stopped doing it.
Yeah.
The other churches have not seen it to be their responsibility by and large. But the Catholic Church has been really, really good at this. For centuries they have been doing it. The problem is they have fallen off. But this is something God has been saying to us we should be doing. As Christians, it is part of our responsibility. As a community, it's part of our responsibility. And when he says he comes to judge, and this is still something he's going to judge us on, it means he expects us to do it. But anyway.
No, there are quite a few Christian organizations that finance orphanage to the world. But it is a difficult mission when it comes to financing. Okay, so we were at verse 8, and we spoke yesterday about the tithes, and today we're going to see the offerings. Okay, so I'm going to read back verse 8. Will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me. But ye say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings.
There's something else that I think the question that is asked.
Yeah.
Will a man rob God?
And God surely.
No, no, no. The question, let us analyze the question. The question can be rephrased. Can a man rob God?
For some reason, this question
Yes.
is can if you are married or you are a family, if you share the same assets, you benefit of the same assets. Doesn't it belong to one and to the other, or
Well,
how can you rob someone that belongs to you as well? I don't know.
No, but remember, the firstborn belongs to God. It's nobody else's. And when you give him defective firstborns, it's still his. But you're also supposed to give him a substitute for those defects. If you give him the defective ones as an offering and don't have the substitute, you have robbed him.
but let's go back to Hosea again. The Lord says about Gomer that everything that Gomer has came from Hosea.
Yeah,
She was giving the largesse to her lovers, not counting that everything,
belonged.
her jewelry, her oil, her perfume, everything she had came through her husband. This is God saying, everything that is in Israel is mine. All the sheep, all the goats, all the oxen, the very creature that crawls on the ground, they're all mine. You have been using the things that are mine and using them to worship other gods, to sacrifice to other gods, etc. They're all mine.
Just like Goma did with her lovers.
Exactly. So, when can you therefore rob God?
When whatever you have, you give it to something else or somebody else,
Exactly.
including in your time.
That's what Gomer did. Gomer robbed her husband and gave his things to another.
Well, technically, it's true that when you look at it and say if he give it to her, she
still has it.
she has it, but if it's hers now,
No, 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 no. Okay, let me explain something. If I give my wife a ring, she is within the marriage. She has the ring.
Yeah,
It is hers. She wears it daily, but it is still something she has. No,
right.
the moment she takes it off her fingers and she gives it to one of her lovers over there, she no longer has it.
True.
So therefore, she's robbed me.
Yep.
She's also robbed herself. She's given away that which I gave her to someone else. Someone who hates me, by the way. My enemy has been given that which belongs to me. He's robbed me. We look at the question and we think that God is saying, it's just the tithes and the offering. But where have these tithes and offering gone? If they remained inside it, if they remained with the people and were not used for something else to someone else, would they have been robbing God?
No, because it's still in God's nation. It's still in the household.
Still in the household, still being used by the household, still possessed by the master. But they have been sacrificing to other gods.
Right.
If we look at Hosea, we see it, right? So you have robbed me. And the things that should have come into my house, you have neglected to do that.
Yeah.
It's not only the tithes and offering. How can a man rob God? Yes, tithes and offering. But he also in Hosea says, I was hoping to have goodly seed. Further on before in Malachi, he says it again. I was hoping to have got good seed from you, but I have not received that.
they've gone wrong.
Your children are polluted. So you have robbed me in that as well. So how can a man rob God? In other words, can a man really rob me? It's difficult to conceive, but you have managed to do it. It is incredible that you have managed to rob me, and I am God.
And yet you are pretending, just like the question, wherein have we robbed thee?
But how?
Just like that statement is just like the one like saying, where is the God of judgment?
Yeah. So God is asking, it's difficult, but you have managed to rob me. And I said, how can we rob you, God? You build everything belongs to
They're good at that.
you.
Probably the
You know
only
it
thing.
belongs to me, you still give it away.
In tithes and offering, you have robbed me. It is no longer my possession. You follow me? If I rob you, it is no longer something you possess. It is outside of your control. It is outside of your household. I have moved. It still technically belongs to you when it is recovered. And you can recover it because it is yours. Okay. If I break into your house, Janet, and I steal, I steal your car. I come into your yard and I steal your car. I drive it out. No, have I robbed you?
Yeah,
Okay. Does the car still belong to you?
yeah,
Do you now have the legal right to repossess it?
yeah.
Okay. So me having possession of it does not, enough of itself, negate your ownership.
Okay, you have the
It still
title.
belongs to you.
You have the title.
Still
But
mine.
I have robbed you. I robbed you, but the thing I've taken from you is still yours. And you want it back.
And I can reclaim it.
Aha! This is the point.
So,
It's still mine. Even though you may have taken it, it's still mine.
Still mine.
And I want it back. Because if I don't want it back, you have not robbed me. I have donated it.
yeah.
Yep. That's the
Think about it.
important thing.
Yes.
If somebody comes into your house and steals your garbage, is it robbery?
No,
You don't want garbage, so therefore,
They can have
okay,
it.
you can
they can have it. I gladly donate it to you.
But they come in
Yeah.
and steal your safe where you had all your precious in it. You want it back.
It's that at
that
that
robbery?
point, you call the police because you've been robbed.
Exactly.
You've been literally robbed because you're robbed of things that you consider possess your precious stuff.
Yeah.
Garbage is not something you want to keep, so you let it go.
The garbage collector walks into your yard, sees your garbage, your trash can, takes up the trash, throws it into the back of it, and puts back your trash can and leaves with your garbage. Has he robbed you? Technically,
No.
he's done the same thing as the person who would have come in and stolen your safe. The only problem is you didn't want the garbage.
Yeah, and you are the one who put the garbage out there.
Yeah. It's
You
still
gave it,
your yard. Still yours.
You allow them to take it.
but you were willing to separate yourself from that.
Yeah. So that is not robbery. But the moment he takes the garbage pan,
Yeah,
Garbage-
stealing the garbage pan is not what they're supposed to do.
well, exactly. The moment he steals the pan, it's robbery. The garbage in it was never. Well, you can keep that. I don't want that back. And if he brings back the garbage pan with the garbage in it, you're saying, why you never keep the garbage? I didn't want the garbage. But the pan, I consider valuable. So this is what the Lord is saying. I want my stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't precious, I wouldn't want it back. I wouldn't consider myself robbed. I thought, well, you've taken the garbage. It's all yours. I mean, nobody quarrels about being robbed of garbage.
They will call about the pan, but not the garbage.
Yes.
The question there is, what does he want back? He wants back his.
He wants back his possession.
All the things that are covered and you were supposed to deliver,
Exactly.
he wants you to perform your end of the bargain. He still wants that.
He wants the priesthood to come back righteous and Israel to come back home
Yes.
and all of these.
So this is the question. How are we robbed it? By not doing what you're supposed to do. In your tithes, we covered the tithing yesterday.
Yeah.
Offering. The offerings are different from tithes. So what are offerings?
So it's something that you willingly offer to.
Were you willing to give the tithes to?
Yeah, but you willingly you choose what you give basically.
So you choose the tithes to?
Yeah.
Also, is the offering according to your sins then? Like you offer something
No.
like no?
No.
This was not. The offerings would be extra.
Exactly. Those things that you are not required
To give.
by law or obligation, and you voluntarily surrender it.
Like
It's a donation.
I give tips.
It's
Such as a peace offering. You don't have to give a peace offering.
Exactly. It's a gift,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are giving the Lord a gift. It can be because you're grateful. You like let's say you have your firstborn, and you are grateful for that, and you take a gift offering to the Lord, to the temple,
Yeah.
and people do it.
Grace in you call it other side from man to God.
Yeah, it is. Yes, pretty much. You're right.
And that's what we are supposed to bring into the house. Our grateful offering.
Right. So the offerings, right? You have robbed tithes and offering. If the offering is not something that God expects, how can you rob him? If an offering, in other words, if an offering is something that is above what is obligated to be received, how can I be expecting to get it?
That means that he don't get anything, not even an offering.
But that is ungratefulness, because if somebody does something good for you, even if it's a thank you, that's an offering.
Remember now, we are going to have to separate tithes and offerings from sacrifice. Three different
From
things.
what?
From sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, me know.
Because the sacrificial animals are not tithes.
No, they're not. They're not offerings either.
Well, they're not. So we have three separate categories. We have those animals and those things that would have been brought in as sacrifice.
Yes, the sacrifice is for the sins.
And whatever, so you have the sacrificial animal. And then you have those animals and things, including food stuff, will be brought in
To provide for the Levites.
Yeah, as tithing for the Levites and the priests. And then you have offerings, which are free will offering, extra that somebody may bestow unto the Lord. And once they've given it to the Lord, it becomes a holy thing. And once it becomes a holy thing and it is dedicated to the Lord, can the priest partake of that?
No.
This is the question we need to find out.
I would say
The priest had to give God his portion and then they partake. They couldn't touch God's portion.
the offering was just for God. The tithes now were for the Levites.
Let's check to see if it was permissible for the priests and the Levites to partake of offerings, because that's different from tithes.
Yes.
Yeah, 'cause offerings are voluntary and there's no set amount. It's just something you want to give to God.
Is a gift because you feel blessed and you want to thank him.
Yeah, it's just something you want to give him. And isn't that different from sacrificial giving?
We decide that sacrifice is different.
No, sacrificial giving, like them call it nowadays, when you give out to your nothing. Let's answer the question. Who does get what?
Leviticus 23:38, I think, speaks. Let me see if I can find it. Sometimes this thing is just problematic. Okay, wow. Let me see if I. I'm finding it difficult to use this thing this morning. I don't know why. Leviticus 23:38. 30. Okay. Let's start from 37. These are the Lord's appointed festivals, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies for bringing food offerings to the Lord. The burnt offerings and grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings required for each day. These offerings are in addition to those for the Lord's Sabbath, and in addition to your gifts and whatever you have vowed, and all the freewill offering you give to the Lord. So, beginning with the 50th day of the 7th month, after you have gathered the crops of the land, celebrate the festival of the Lord for 7 days. The first day is a day of Sabbath rest, and the 8th day also is a day of Sabbath rest. On the first day, you are to take branches from luxuriant trees, from palms, willows, and other leafy trees, and rejoice before the Lord your God. Right? So, we see that there are free will offerings that are to be brought in.
Yeah. I want to read something similar in Deuteronomy.
Good.
Deuteronomy 16. I'm going to read the NIV version. 16 and 17. This is in relation to the the Festival of Tabernacles. 3 times a year, all your men must appear before the Lord your God at the place he will choose, at the festival of unleavened bread, the festival of weeks, and the festival of tabernacles. No one should appear before the Lord empty-handed.
Exactly.
Each one of you must bring a gift in proportion to the way the Lord your God has blessed you.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many times per year?
3 times.
3 times.
Okay. So, this is not tithing.
Which is 1 time a year.
Yes. But this now, you're supposed to bring a gift in proportion to the rate of blessing that you have got.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you are invited to someone for dinner.
Don't come empty-handed.
Exactly. Don't go empty-handed. If you can afford,
Yeah, bring something.
you can afford for bringing a bouquet or a plant or anything like a dessert or that you would have buy, or you can afford a good bottle of wine. I don't know.
Bring something.
Don't go empty-handed.
Well, it's a little bit more than just going with something in your hand. You are supposed to bring something in proportion
To what you have.
And what's the proportion? See?
A proportion of your blessings.
Yes. But at what proportions? Is it 10%?
It never tell you.
I tell you.
No, is you
You decide.
determine what is that proportion. It's an offering, so it is not a must, but it is of, how to say, courtesy.
It is not just a courtesy, it's an expectation.
Yeah.
So,
Remember, he says 3 times at each festival you must bring something out of what I have blessed you with.
so if you're a farmer and your crop have been really doing well, you have to bring a portion of that crop.
Yeah. You bring what you have.
If you're a tent maker and you
You're going to have food, you're going to be eating this thing, you know. Read it again, Janet.
Alright, let me bring it back up. Deuteronomy 16. Reading verse. Alright, I am going down to 16. 3 times a year, all your men must appear before the Lord your God at the place he will choose, at the festival of unleavened breads, the festival of weeks, and the festival of tabernacles. No one should appear before the Lord empty-handed. Each of you must bring a gift in proportion to the way the Lord your God has blessed you.
Keep going.
It goes on to the judges after that. Appoint judges and officials for each of your tribes.
What are you going to do with these things that you bring? Because you're on the feast of unleavened bread. These are to be what? Eaten.
Mm-hmm.
These are to be eaten.
yeah, so you come to share.
You come to share. You know. So let's look at
As a matter of fact, to help you, Jackie, let me go back to verse 13. I think 13 onwards will probably help. Celebrate the festival of tabernacles for 7 days after you have gathered the produce of your threshing floor and your winepress. Be joyful at your festival, you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levites, the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your town. For 7 days, celebrate the festival to your Lord your God at the place the Lord will choose. For the Lord your God will bless you in all your harvests and in all the work of your hands, and your joy will be complete. And then it goes on 3 times a year.
for different feasts, and there are actually 7 feasts, right? 7 celebrations in the Jewish calendar.
But only 3 of them is required to carry offering.
So here we see. Okay, look at if we look at this is verse 14. This Leviticus 22:14. It says, anyone who eats a sacred offering by mistake must make restitution to the priest for the offering and add a fifth of the value to it. The priest must not desecrate the sacred offerings the Israelites present to the Lord by allowing them to eat the sacred offering and to bring upon them guilt requiring payment. I am the Lord who makes them holy. Them. So the gifts and offering were also prescribed, not in terms of quantity necessarily, in terms of these are things you must do for the feast.
Yeah.
Just like the tithe was supposed to be taken in and it was supposed to be given to the priest, right? A tenth of it. And a tenth of it was supposed, a tenth of the tenth given to the priest, and the original tenth given to the Levites. But then you were supposed to have a feast.
Yeah. A feast means that you share
A meal.
joyfully. So it's not like it's going to be scarce or what.
What is important?
It's a celebration.
What I get from all of this, the most important part, is in the place that God has prescribed. One place. So all of these celebrations and all that were only supposed to happen in one place, at the temple. So tithe, offering, and all of these things were supposed to happen at one place. And in Revelation, it is more emphatic because it says that when Christ comes and establishes kingdoms, the nations will come to Jerusalem. And anyone who will not come, there will be no rain in their country. There will be drought. So the actual emphasis is all of these celebrations and the tithe and the offering must come to one place. So as I said, anybody who collecting tithes and offerings and keeping it, they are the ones robbing the Lord.
Now that we're talking about the tithes and the offering, and we're looking at the fact that they must bring according to their proportion, 2 Corinthians 8 verse 3 make more sense. It says, for I testify that they gave as much as they were able, and even beyond their ability, entirely on their own.
Yes, it's a free will offering, right? You were expected to bring it, but nobody knew how much you were going to bring. Because
you gave according to how much you can.
Exactly. Let us say this year you had a bumper crop. You bring a proportion of that based on how much you've had. If this year you were fired and your field never produced a thing, you cannot. But you were still expected to turn up to the feast.
Yep.
And the feast will be provided to everyone. You could share with your neighbor. Those who, the fatherless would not have a field. The widow would not have any great expectation to bring something for them to be helped. But there would be feasting.
Yeah, because they were not blessed with that prosperous thing that you have. So therefore you have to share, which is makes sense.
Therefore they would be participants in the Feast of Unleavened Bread and all the first fruits. They would be part and parcel of the celebration. And so you would have the sharing of the meal. It helped to build community.
Well. Here's what God said to Moses in Exodus 25 verse 2. Speak to the people of Israel that they take for me a contribution. From every man whose heart moves him, you shall receive the contribution for me.
Yeah, for me. No. If
you receive it for me.
Yeah, if these churches are going along with the concept of tithing to the Lord, and they are so adamant that the tithe must come in, I have no problem with them demanding the tithe come in. That's their thing. But you must not be the ones to have kept it. It should go straight to the one place that the Lord prescribed for tithing. You see, if the Lord prescribes tithing and you decide you're going to do tithing, fine. But there's another part to the whole tithing process, which is it must go to one place.
The temple.
One place is prescribed. And it was careful, the Bible was careful to say, in the place of his choosing. One place. So if there are people collecting tithes now, and it is not going to the place of God's choosing, the one place, who is robbing God?
My question
Question.
They never specified the choosing places of
Yes, the temple.
where we know that this.
No. It's when God spoke to Moses, he said that there will be a single place of my choosing. When Moses said, you know, when you go into the land, your method of sacrifice will change. Your worship will change. God will designate one place. Right now you have all altars all over the place.
They were in the desert.
Right. You have altars, everybody has the altars, blah, blah, blah. Moses says God will choose one place for
you
his
to
altar.
gather and celebrate.
And for you to gather and to celebrate. One place. This became important when you look at Jeroboam.
I want to read what Paul wrote.
Go ahead.
1 Corinthians 16. I'm going to read verse 1 to 4. Now about the collection for the Lord's people. Do what I told the Galatian churches to do. On the first day of each week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income, saving it up so that when I come, no collections will have to be made. Then, when I arrive, I will give letters of introduction to the men you approve and send them with your gifts to Jerusalem.
To Jerusalem.
If it seems advisable for me to go also, they will accompany me.
Can you imagine all the tithes that the churches are collecting today?
Should go to Jerusalem.
Money to rebuild the temple.
The temple would be rebuilt.
And 1 week, the temple is rebuilt.
It should have been rebuilt a long time ago.
So
they read the first part of collecting the money the first day of the week.
Yes.
But they don't read verse 3 that says, send it to Jerusalem.
Do me a favor. Send that chapter thing to me by WhatsApp. When I'm doing the presentation, I'm going to make that quotation the heading of everything. Because this is the point. Look, the Old Testament says it, that there is one place for tithe and offerings to go. One.
But that was the New Testament right there.
And then it comes to the New Testament, where he's careful to tell you, listen, what he's saying, is that I am going to come, and I'm going to come with some people, and I'm going to give you these people their credentials, so you can trust them. That's what I want, You can trust these guys, rely on their integrity, so that they will take your money for surety into Jerusalem, to the Lord's house.
It's like you hire brings to transport your money.
Yeah, and it brings come for the money.
Brings come for the money. This is the point. So so what we are saying is scriptural. So all these people who are using Malachi to justify collecting tithes from the people in the pews, use it all you want. But if you have collected it in God's name for God's people to be blessed, it had better go to the place where God said it should go. Don't keep it.
Don't spend it.
Because you are the one now who are guilty of robbing the Lord.
Well, if you use the Lord money to buy a Rolls Royce.
Who is robbing the Lord now?
Yeah.
So all of this, you see how it backfires, Janet? They have been using scripture to say the people in the pews are the one robbing the Lord because they're not giving to God. When in fact, it is the church who's collected this and have withheld it. They should have transported this money if it is going to go as tithe. But let us look at what God said about the foreigner tithing, because it says it.
Oh, where?
Okay. All right. The Lord said to Moses, speak to Aaron and his sons and to all Israelites and say to them, if any of you, whether an Israelite or a foreigner residing in Israel, presents a gift for a burnt offering to the Lord, either to fulfill a vow or a free will offering, you must prepare a male without defect from the cattle, sheep or goat, in order that it may be acceptable to the Lord on your behalf. Do not bring anything with a defect, etc. And what that says is, if you are living in Israel, not only that, it says you cannot buy an animal from a foreigner. In other words, an animal outside of Israel is not acceptable because it doesn't belong to God. Well, it all belongs to him in terms of, but it is not part of the land that God declares to be his own.
So if you're a foreigner living in Israel, you have to carry something that...
Do the same thing when in Rome.
Yeah. What the one in Rome...
Do what the Romans do.
Do what the Romans, yeah.
But if you are a foreigner and you are not in Israel, do not buy a goat or a sheep or ox or whatever and bring it with you. It's not going to be acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you're sending money, you would then buy your sheep or your goat. This is why in Corinthians, they were sending the money to buy their sheep, goat, and it be sacrificed on their behalf. Right? And fulfill their obligations as Jews. So, if we're going to follow the Bible, don't follow it halfway and decide that this part, I'm going to keep this money here because we're a church. And if you start to collect tithes and you're calling it tithe, if you call it something else, you're good now. But do not call it tithe to the Lord and pretend that it is in keeping with the Old Testament and, in fact, the New Testament provision, and keep the money.
Call it membership fee. Or
call it what you want. But if you keep the money, and you are the one robbing the Lord.
Yeah, and don't say that if you don't pay the tithe to the Lord, you can't do that.
You are the one. So the question is, can a man rob God? Yes. The church has been doing it for years.
Oh, you see.
If pastors hear you say this, they're going to be upset.
Yes.
But it's scriptural.
They need to address that.
Well, they won't, you see, because they need this money to build their church.
Using the name of the Lord.
As I said, call it something else, but don't call it tithing. Don't call it tithing for the Lord. If you want to say, give me a tenth, and so on and so forth, yes.
Send it to.
What is a membership fee you're collecting?
And or you can't even send it to the temple because there's no temples.
Well, that is beside the point. That's beside it, isn't it? If you call it tithe, it needs to go there. But if there's no temple, don't collect any tithe. The Jews are still having their festivals. They still observe their feasts and so on. So therefore, if they can still observe those, that means they're still observant of
the tithes and offerings.
And the tithes and offerings are still being observed. So it should go to them. It should go to those people in Israel that are designated as priests. Send it to them. Let it be their country.
But there are no priests there now.
Well, there are
rabbis.
There are people who are descendants of Aaron and are recognized as Levites. Send it to them. Let it be their condemnation and not yours. Well, the curse in one way that they are blinded to Christ, but they're still God's people and still obligated to following the Mosaic law as they see it. They are still, Jesus didn't say don't have the Passover. He didn't say don't have the feast. Those are things that are still prescribed. So if we're going to have tithing done, the church needs to send it to the Levites as prescribed in Scripture. Don't keep it. You're the one at that point robbing the Lord.
Yep.
And it's straightforward. And if you make an argument to them, they will say, poo, 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 poo. No, 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 no. We need to call it because we need to have administration of the church. Well, call it something.
No, but even if you put the administration of the church, Paul wrote it in Corinthians.
Yes.
What the administration of the offering should be for. He said to maintain the church for the fatherless, for the widow, for the poor.
Not for the person. Because he knows that tithing is supposed to be authenticated by the Levites and the priests. He would not be going outside of those caveats. Because he well knows that is the law.
Mm-hmm.
That is the law of tithe prescribed by Jehovah. And if you're going to claim this is the tithe for Jehovah, well, you better make sure you abide by the laws as prescribed. Don't short circuit it because the question is asked, can a man rob the Lord? Yeah,
Are you robbing God now?
By withholding his tithes and his offerings that are given. They have been given. You have just not given it over to the Lord and used it for the things that's prescribed.
I think buying a jet
I don't think I'm there. That
is helpful to anyone except for yourself.
A Rolls Royce.
A Jag. A Porsche. A bodyguard.
You have to come in style.
While you have hungry people in the church, while you have the orphans on the street, while you have people living on the outside, motherless, fatherless, right? Well, look, where does it spiral from? You can follow these things almost to a natural consequence of there not being any fathers in the house. At some point, there was a degradation in the household. If there were not, you would not have as many of these incidences. I'm not saying you wouldn't have any, but you wouldn't have as many of these. The people who are supplying drugs, who are actually manufacturing these things, they would have some moral turpitude as well, but they don't.
Worship money?
Yes, that's their idol. They love it. They kneel down to the bank every morning. So we look at only one or two words and we see that the Bible prescribes how to deal with these. But the church, in my estimation, has hijacked tithing.
Yeah, they took the concept and run with it.
Hijacked it.
The same way that they deal with the sermons. They take a passage of the Bible and enhance it the way they want and just go and run with it. And because they took it from the Bible, it's...
Well, if you can find a Bible scripture and get feel-good sermon, what do you think will happen? The feel-good means you give me more money.
It's crazy.
I'm selling a product to the congregation, and the congregation like it, so the congregation gives me money.
Yeah. It's like, as I said to you, this man I was watching on YouTube, he was saying he's a white fella. He said, I went to a black church. I was invited to a black church. And, you know, when I got there, I wasn't sure what I'd find, but when I got there, they were singing and they were praising the Lord. And they were really, really, animated and they were joyful. And I don't know what they were selling, but I'm buying. You know?
What?
Yeah, I don't know what they were selling, but I'm in. I'm all for this. I'm buying. I'm going back.
So it's a antiques. It's a shop where you can just buy into it.
Yeah.
But some people is that them go to church. Them go
for the music. It's a disco.
No, first of all, you have a dress code. You have to dress.
Yeah, you have to dress a certain way. Yep.
Yeah, you have to dress a certain way because you have to look posh.
Of
and
course.
Then you go, and the sermon is very little, but the music playing and the dancing and the singing is good. It's like a disco.
Yeah, it is a disco.
It is a disco.
Listen, the amount of money some churches put into their acoustics and their microphones and their drums and their pianos and their quartets and their this, they spend more money on choirs and on the musical ambience that they will wish to provide than they do on the message the pastor preaches.
Yeah, but that they do simply in their community feed and the taking care of
Exactly.
the sick and
They don't do that. And then just look at Clive and Carol.
yeah.
This is what pains me. They were the church soloists, male and female soloists for their church.
For years.
They had for years sang, and the pastor would come up and, oh, this was beautiful, and oh, people would say, I was blessed today, and people would say, boy, that song, it touched me, and I'm going to give God a praise and glory and honor to the Lord, and they got sick. Both of them got sick. The pastor hasn't turned up yet. Pastor, the same pastor, the same congregation, the same people who used to extol them and say, oh, they were singing wonderful. They have just replaced them by the next set.
Of course.
And nobody, they have missed a step.
Because you're replaceable.
Yes, they have not missed a step. And the pastor is now saying the same thing to the new people that they were saying to them. Oh, you have that blessed me, and it was a wonderful rendition. And so the point has been the song and not the people. It is a misplacing of the emphasis. It's like a spider's web. The song and the singing and the music and the acoustics are like a spider's web. They're there to catch you. All right? And once they've caught you, you're caught and you can't move. And you're there every Sunday just mesmerized by the singing, and the spider comes along and he sucks the money out your pocket, and you are saying, oh, this was a nice sermon, and you're gone home waiting for next week when they can come and vampirize you again. But the moment you lose substance, the spider kicks you out of the web. It's just like that. When the meal is consumed, there's nothing left inside. It's just a husk. The spider doesn't keep it in the web; it kicks it out.
Can't have a make space for the next one.
Yes, and this is what they have done. And I said to Carol, but where's your pastor? They haven't. Where is the care, the concern? But they have developed this organization. The organization is so large now.
Yeah.
The pastor doesn't know which person is which.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's why you have the deacons. Well, when Paul write about the deacons and the elders, you think him never know what I talk about? The past, Jesus had 12 disciples, and then those 12 disciples took care of everybody else. Jesus gave us the formula.
Yeah, but
and only those that were desperately in need were brought to Jesus. The rest, the disciples took care of.
Yeah, I'm bothered with that. It really said to me when I looked at Carol and Clive suffering, and I'm saying, I'd never go to your church. Never. I would not go back there to listen to a thing that they tell me. No. Because they're hypocrite.
No, seriously, the church itself is huge. It's like you go to a movie theater and you go watch a movie and then you come out. Nobody knows nobody.
Well, I was told on Sunday, I was told as a part of a group that there was a church where this woman, she died, and all her life she went to a particular church. And when she died, her children and her grandchildren informed the church. And the pastor never turned up. The person who turned up was the pastor for another church, and he didn't go for he went because he was a friend of one of the grandchildren, and he was with the grandchild when he heard about the death, and he went as a friend, and he ended up ministering to the family, and the family said, the church that my grandmother went, not happening. This one who don't even know Sir Adam was willing to minister to us. We need to go see what his church is about. And I'm like, that's not the only church that's like that. So many churches. Because the church that I was at, nobody never called me when me missing. And I was on the ministerial staff. Nobody never called me. Nobody never even checked on me.
They didn't notice.
No, they didn't. Because the church big.
Well, you see.
But it's either they never noticed or they never cared. Because guess what? I'm still getting emails, but it's a blanket email sent to everybody.
Mm.
But the truth is, it's so big, Janet. It's not like you going in with a card and that they can verify who come and who didn't
Well,
come.
maybe they should start doing that. Because
That's what they should do.
at this point in time,
Hold on.
it would help a bit.
When you look at how God set up Israel and us, Israel was divided into 12 tribes, and each of those tribes had a leader, and inside of that leadership there was a structure.
Well, the churches have structure, but it does fail because it is emphasizing something that is chasing the green box. At the end of the day, the church is organized not around the scripture, but around
The
the
money.
money.
So as long as you send in the money, we're good.
Yeah, those people who are opulent and have money and will contribute a lot. If that person drops out, he's noticed immediately.
Yeah. I
Immediately.
don't him noticing money notice.
Well, but look, if your money stops in, there will be obviously a gap to fill, and they will try to find out why is this gap not being filled. AKA, the money is run out.
Yeah. Just
They
stop the
notice
money.
that. But it's sad, but unfortunate, and that is where we are in today's church. But